Now there are trees just like this one uprooted throughout the campground. Now the goal is to reopen May 1st. This is where the gutter is. Here is where the road begins, and here's the line to the new repavement job. The original design of the hotel has since changed, and this is what the final product will look like once it's complete. Avila Beach and Pismo Beach both have a ban in place, and yet in the couple of hours it took me to film this story, this is how many cigarette butts I came across. And the most interesting thing about these type of birds, they're the only birds of prey that hunt like a pack of wolves. Kenny Nichols, my photographer, actually has a special light on me. Kenny, why don't we go ahead and turn that light off? Now this is what it looked like the night of the crash. What you're seeing behind me is LED lights the city placed in earlier this year. However, residents I spoke to say this is still way too dark. Take a look at my car. This is how much is completely covering. If we just kind of did a wipe, it's pretty thick. Gotta check out the hat that I got today because I'm pretty much kind of adopted as a firefighter, teaching a lot of these students about fire safety. But this giant eucalyptus tree right behind me is about 100 feet tall. It came crashing down across this roadway, smashing into these two vehicles.
I want to bring in Angel Russell though here real quickly. She's been talking to some of the people in the area, particularly around the campground, who were being asked to evacuate, and you just talked to a couple of people in a car that was just heading up the on-ramp here.
Yeah, Dan, while you were in the interview, there's just cars flying down, trying to get out of that campsite. We're talking about mass amount of families heading out. They told me that just within the last 20 to 30 minutes, they were woken up by park rangers and they said, you guys got to go. This is the final warning. It is coming. And right now they're taking that warning as very serious and they are evacuating the area.
KSBY News reporter Angel Russell joins us now live at Dolliver and Stimson Street in Pismo Beach. Angel, what else can you tell us about all this?
Well, Dan and Karina, I'm right here actually on the pier because police are still searching this area. Now, they've started to move toward Oceano. This is where they think their suspect is. They do not believe that he's gone far. Now, this started shortly after 6 o'clock when sheriff deputies attempted to pull over a vehicle on Highway 1 near Arroyo Grande when they recognized the two inside as well-known gang members. Well, those two did not pull over and they started in a high-speed pursuit, ultimately crashing their car here in Pismo Beach and then running on foot. The two men racing to get away from deputies Tuesday evening sped through the Pismo outlets, hit an unoccupied vehicle, and continued to drive through downtown Pismo Beach, finally ending their pursuit, crashing their Cadillac Escalade into another vehicle, then ramming their car into a construction lift.
And I felt a shake and I heard a huge thud, and so I went outside to check it out, and I didn't see anything, but about 10 minutes later the whole place was lit up and had cops everywhere.
While deputies arrested one suspect in a foot pursuit near the crash minutes later, the other one sent them searching with canines along the Pismo Beach pier. Onlookers watch deputies make their rounds as the search continues late into the night. Now, the victim in the car crash was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Now, deputies tell me if you see their suspect, do not make contact. Just call 911. Live and local in Pismo Beach, I'm Angel Russell, KSBY News.
Power lines have burned down and several facilities on South Base are now running on generators. KSBY reporter Angel Russell is there for us live tonight. And Angel, what are you seeing out there this evening?
Well, Dan, I'm at the south end of the base and looking around, I can't see the flames or the fire, and that's because the fire is burning deep within the base itself. Now, another thing I can't see is actually the stars above me because we are just being blanketed with smoke. I'm sure you can see all this ash falling all around me. Now, although there's no evacuation orders currently in effect, and speaking to some residents, they tell me they won't be getting much sleep tonight. Despite an aggressive air and ground attack, the flames advanced more today, filling the sky with smoke above, with many working below.
We're not afraid. We're working today.
Farmers on ranches just a few miles from where the blaze is scorching say they feel safe, even with the thick smell of smoke surrounding them.
Too far over there, but if they get closer, they let us know. For right now, it's okay.
What are you doing? Lompoc resident Holly Traffican's boyfriend works on Vandenberg Air Force Base. She anxiously waits to hear from him during his workday.
I'm worried because of the fact that South Base is shut down. That's where his shop is. That's where his job is.
While her boyfriend has to keep working on base, Holly debates taking their daughter to her parents' house.
I don't want the smoke to affect her in any way. She's only 6 months old.
With darkness falling on day 3 of the canyon fire, those around it hope the morning will bring better news. Now, the Vandenberg Air Force Base property is 99,000 plus acres. The last massive wildfire they had was in 2010. That was called the Bear Creek Fire. It burned about 1,200 acres. However, the last deadly wildfire they had was also burning on the south end of the base. That was back in December of 1977. It was called the Honda Fire. It killed 4 people and scorched 10,000 acres. Live and local in Vandenberg, I'm Angel Russell, KSBY News. A truck full of logs leaves the nearly 400-acre property off Willow Creek Road in Paso Robles. Neighbors say this has been going on for a month.
It can only be described as a crime against Mother Nature.
The deforestation by Justin Vineyards is for the company to build additional grape fields and an irrigation pond. But now the project is temporarily halted for an investigation.
We've found them in violation of grading without a permit on slopes that are in excess of 30%.
While removing oak trees isn't illegal within the county, approval is needed, which the company did not get. In a statement by the Wonderful Company on behalf of the winery, quote, "We recognize the beauty and importance of our natural resources. And as part of this process, beginning this fall and throughout 2017, we will plant 5,000 oak trees across our properties," end quote. Farmers below the land say too much damage has already been done, not only for the wildlife that once lived there, but for what a rainy season could bring.
Looking at the hills, they're totally denuded of any kind of vegetation that might keep erosion from occurring on those steep slopes.
Now the community is having talks of an ordinance to prevent future deforestation and mass water pumping to stop not only this project, but others like it.
Nobody wants crazy restrictions on our properties, but if we don't do something about a situation like this, then nobody's going to have property worth anything to protect the rights for.
Watch your step next time you're outside. It is tarantula mating season. KSBY News reporter Angel Russell learned more about these large spiders. She joins us now live in San Luis Obispo. So, Angel, they're kind of scary looking, but relatively harmless, right?
Karina, as big and scary looking as some people may find them, they are not poisonous and they're not harmful to people. I am told if you are bit by a tarantula, it would hurt the same way that a bee sting hurts. Well, with mating season in full swing, you may come across one like on this hike, and if you do, you can pick up a tarantula, but I did find out there's proper ways to pick one up. This male tarantula in Pozo is out on a once-in-a-lifetime quest to find love.
They mate once in their life, and that's it.
Susie Robertson is owner of Squeaks, Chirps, and Bubbles in Los Osos. She's been studying tarantulas for more than 10 years.
When you see them, this is the very first time they've come out of their burrow during daylight.
This tarantula is on a mission to find a burrow in the ground where hopefully a willing female will be inside.
And they may have to go knock on several doors until a female says, "Hey, you're cute, come on in."
Robertson says the romance after they mate doesn't last long.
If he decides to kind of linger a little bit, she'll eat him.
So there's no guy confused that there's no attachment involved? Like,
no.
He knows to leave?
Yeah, he knows to leave.
For the brave of heart, you can pick up a tarantula unless you see this warning sign, which Stella gave me when I tried to pick her up.
They'll rear up on their back legs, and boy, their fangs will be shown.
Instead, Robertson had me practice on a baby tarantula. She says the key is to stay low, slide your hand next to them, and don't pick them up in the air. If you're out hiking, keep an eye out for them. It's something Laura Viggs is glad she didn't come across on this hike.
I probably would have run away.
If this tarantula in Pozo does find a mate, his female partner will go on to raise the babies herself.
There could be 1,000 eggs in there, and she will protect that thing with all she's got.
Okay, now sadly this love story does not have a happy ending for the males. If they do survive the mating ritual, they actually only live a few months after, whereas the females can live for up to 25 years. So you think your love life is tough. Well, live and local in San Luis Obispo, I'm Angel Russell for KSBY News.
Pretty interesting. All right, thank you, Angel. Tarantula mating season lasts through the end of October.
2 years ago to the day, an oil pipeline failed near Santa Barbara, sending more than 100,000 gallons of oil onto the Refugio Beach shoreline and into the water. The second oil spill tragedy to strike the West Coast. KSBY News reporter Angel Russell takes us back to that day for a look at the state of the beach and the lessons learned.
It's a scenic day at Refugio State Beach. A stark contrast to what this shore looked like 2 years ago.
It was devastating. To me, it almost doesn't have words. It was just this, like a tar field in the ocean.
The oil pipeline rupture sent more than 140,000 gallons of oil spewing down into the Pacific, killing more than 200 birds, 106 marine mammals, and an unknown number of marine wildlife residing in the surfline. Workers in hazmat suits spent days crouching over oil-stained beaches, scooping up the toxic sludge. To mark the anniversary, county supervisors met this week, discussing prevention efforts and the lessons learned from mistakes made.
The response time was huge.
It's estimated cleanup efforts didn't begin until 16 to 18 hours after the spill was discovered.
A lot of that oil made it from the pipeline onshore into the ocean. That never should have happened.
Linda Kropp is with the Environmental Defense Center, an organization that was developed in response to Santa Barbara's first massive oil spill in 1969. That year, an oil well blew out off the coast, dumping 3 million gallons of crude oil and coating 35 miles of beaches, killing thousands of animals. This sparking President Richard Nixon to focus on environmental policies,
which not only raised a lot of attention and awareness about the risks of offshore oil development, but also led to the enactment of the state and federal environmental protection laws that we have today.
Laws that are still in a constant tug of war, with state environmental protection bills now colliding with federal goals and regulations.
Between Congress and the President, there's a tremendous interest in increasing oil and gas development. So even though we haven't had a federal oil lease since 1984, that could change.
For now, since Plains All-American stopped all crude oil transport from its Elwood onshore facility after the spill, Veneco is decommissioning Platform Holly, which has been dry ever since. And the actual pipe that ruptured, Line 901, still sits empty and idle, while Plains All-American remains under investigation with several pending lawsuits from the county, state, and federal governments.
No one even knows if that pipeline is going to be repaired or if it's actually going to have to be replaced. So this issue is going to be going on for some time.
2 years and 2 oil spills later, Refugio State Beach continues to be a battleground between environmentalists and pro-oil developers, but with both sides agreeing on one thing: learning from past mistakes to stop history from repeating. It was a snow day, sorta. Santa Lucia Mountains picking up on a dusting of snow last night from that weak low pressure system. This is a view of Oak Shores from Diane Taylor. Pretty cool, but it did quickly melt away with the sunshine today. Rain reports from last night. We weren't expecting a lot, and that is exactly what we saw. Most areas picking up on less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. More rain, though, is making its way down the central coast, giving us some rain in the overnight hours once again going into tomorrow morning. It's going to be pretty light, just like what we saw last night. Come Monday afternoon, that should start to taper off. Then once we get to Monday night, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the clouds really start to push away, and we are looking at some pretty beautiful temperatures. But let's talk about that rain. This is how much it's saying we're going to collect before the storm leaves us. So no advisories in place, and most of us will be asleep when the rain arrives. Let's take a look at our current temperatures right now. Santa Maria dropping down to 50 degrees, Paso Robles 49, and Santa Barbara at 52. But those clouds starting to come in, really showing us that rain will be arriving pretty soon. Here's what's happening visually. Some low pressure systems are still digging their way down the state, giving us that cool weather, giving us just a little bit more rain. But then a big change is on the way. A ridge of high pressure is going to start to build into the area on Tuesday, Wednesday. And then once we get to Thursday and Friday, it is here, warming up temperatures back into the 70s. Yes, the 70s that we haven't seen in quite a long time. Let's take a look at some pictures from earlier today. This is from Susie showing us Morro Bay sunset on the dock. Look at that. It doesn't get much better than that. Let's take a look at another picture, and this is from today's weather change over at Hollister Peak. You can see the clouds moving in over here and the sunshine right over here. It was kind of a mix today for a lot of us. And let's take a look at Michelle Sherman's, who shows us one more picture of that snow dusting, but you can see it was melting away once that sun came out. Keep sending us your pictures to Angel Russell News on Facebook and Twitter. Your hour by hour tomorrow, Santa Barbara starting at 49, climbing up to 58 degrees, those clouds sticking around. Santa Maria 43 in the morning, working our way up to 56 degrees. San Luis Obispo, we're looking at a high of 59, almost there at that 60, but not quite yet. Paso Robles, we're going to be warming up to 56 degrees. Your microclimate forecast for Monday, much like what we saw today. Santa Maria at 56, Lompoc 57, and Santa Barbara at 58. Some of those nighttime temperatures still dropping down to some pretty cool temps. Santa Ynez 38, Los Alamos at 42. The 5 cities area, we are looking at a pretty mild day. Pismo Beach climbing up to 56, Arroyo Grande 59, and Apomo at 56. Now up in the north coast, slightly cooler at those mid to low 50s. Let's go ahead and take a look at your 5-day forecast. Whoa, what a change from all those storms that we've been seeing. Santa Maria seeing some clouds on Monday, but then look at that. Nice sunshine back up to 73 degrees once we get to Thursday. Santa Barbara, Monday 58 and cloudy, probably a few lingering showers, and then nice sunshine climbing up to 68 once we get to Friday. Let's take a look at Paso Robles. Nighttime lows coming up just a bit throughout the week, all the way to 41 once we get to Friday. San Luis Obispo, a couple more days of clouds than Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 76 degrees. It's going to be a nice one. We begin tonight with a wildfire burning at the Vandenberg Air Force Base that's being called the Canyon Fire. Here is a map of the location of the blaze. It's burning entirely on the Air Force Base property on the south end, in a remote canyon between Arguello and Santa Ynez Ridge Roads. So far, 2,200 acres have burned. It's 0% contained. No structures are threatened at this time. More than 230 fire personnel are fighting the canyon fire, representing 4 agencies. It seems as though the Pentagon wants its money back. The Los Angeles Times is reporting that the Pentagon is demanding nearly 10,000 California National Guard soldiers repay huge enlistment bonuses a decade after signing up to serve in Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, it turns out California Guard officials facing a shortage of troops during the 2 wars offered bonuses of $15,000 or more to re-enlist. Now, after an audit and investigation, the Pentagon says many bonuses were given to soldiers who did not actually qualify for them. Soldiers say they feel betrayed. However, the California Guard says it has to follow the law and collect the money